itself. So 700 horsepower, you had a chance to get in one of these cars, run a few laps of this Speedway earlier today. What's it like for these drivers tonight?
Yes, absolutely. It was awesome to drive one of these cars. Very, very fast, a lot of horsepower, and not a very high level of grip. So a lot of these guys have driven some of these cars before, or this type of car before, but some of the guys haven't. I know the guys that I race with on a regular basis are not quite used to these cars. So it should be really interesting to see how that group meshes together.
Be a lot of fun. And what an all-star cast we've got ready to go for you tonight. 13 drivers in our starting lineup here at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola. Starting order determined at random by draw. So the local all-star back again this year is four-time track champion Bubba Pollard. As you look at these 13 drivers come through, boy, do we have a crew ready to go.
Absolutely. Paul Tracy on the front row will definitely be most likely to make contact with another driver first, but everyone's excited to see that, so I know I am.
In the 13, we have 3 NASCAR Cup champions, 3 IndyCar champions, 3 Daytona 500 winners, and 3 Indianapolis 500 winners, all represented in this group of 13 drivers.
It is an incredible field. I mean, as you mentioned, I probably have 95% of these guys' autographs, and definitely their die-cast cars from my childhood. So I'm excited to talk to at least one of these guys before he gets going. Yep. What do you say we dial up Ryan Hunter-Reay?
First time in a stock car since 2006.
Ryan, this is Connor Daly up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Ryan, you're a first-timer here, but obviously someone who has an incredible amount of experience. What do you think about these guys that you're starting around, and what's our strategy here? Are we saving tires? Are we pushing right out the gate? What's the move?
You know, this is the first in many ways, Connor. I've never done anything like this before. The top lane's got weeds in it, and that's where I'm starting. So let's cut some grass and see what we got.
You know what? We know you love life on the top side, though. We've ran side by side at many different races before, so I have a lot of faith in you. And honestly, just watch out for Paul, and I think you'll be fine.
That's good advice, dude. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man. Good luck tonight.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, 2014 Indianapolis 500 winner, joining SRX for this summer. So an update on the format. It's the same as last year. Timed heat races, 2 of them. 12-minute heat 1. Lined up by random draw. The finishing order of Heat 1 determines the starting order of Heat 2. The average finish of the 2 heats combined to determine where you start the main event, which tonight is 75 laps.
Yes, and I like the format, actually, because a lot of drivers will complain about tire wear eventually. But in 12 minutes, there's not a lot of that complaining. It's really going to be guys going all out to try to make up some positions to make sure that you have a great starting spot for the final. So, and they also know that they have new tires coming at the end of these heats, I believe. So I'm excited to see how hard they go and who makes the least mistakes.
Lindsay mentioned it right off the top. Look at the conditions for these drivers tonight. It's 95 degrees. That's the outside air temperature. Track temperature, temperature inside the cars. Oh my goodness, it's a steam bath.
This might be the hottest place on the entire planet right now. I have never experienced anything like it in my life, and getting in the car earlier this morning already made me not really that jealous of these guys tonight, so I'm excited for it.
We have some great looks for you tonight. Our friends at Beverly Hills Aerials, 2 drones covering the event tonight. One of them hovering over the field right now down low, the other up high. And of course, our CBS Sports SRX crew all ready to bring you these next 6 weeks of Superstar Saturday night. 13 drivers ready to go. Heat race number 1. It's season 2 of the Superstar Racing Experience.
Paul Tracy clearly jumping the start early. I like his move.
Tracy outside the lime green car. Bubba Pollard inside trying to fight with Tracy.
Surprised Paul didn't close the door quicker on him, but Bubba's got the experience here, and I'm curious to see if he lays the bumper into Paul a little bit early on here.
He's going to look to get past. On board with Pollard, the 35-year-old from Georgia.
Now, these cars with the rear bumpers there as well definitely give the drivers almost an incentive to get in there and use them a little bit better than just pure body work. So this is a great race, though. Paul's actually giving them some room, which I kind of respect.
Scoring ticker coming across the top of the screen. The color behind the driver's name matches the color of the car they're behind the wheel of. Here's Tony Stewart in the 14, running red this year on his SRX car. And Ryan Newman, one of the newcomers in 39.
2 absolute NASCAR legends dueling it out here. I mean, this is entertainment that I think anyone enjoys, any race fan on a Saturday night.
Asked Ryan earlier today, so what have you been doing lately? He said, racing a little, farming a lot.
I love that about Ryan. I mean, obviously he's one of the most talented drivers I think that's come through the NASCAR system, and Tony Stewart is a guy that I think tonight is just going to be playing it smart. He's got a lot of experience. He knows how these cars work. He knows how these tires will fall off, and I can see him just messing around with people until later on in the night and having a run to the win.
So this is fourth place on back we're watching. The orange car is Marco Andretti. The black car is Ryan Hunter-Reay. Then you've got Tony Stewart next in line, followed by Ryan Newman, and then Bill Elliott in the purple machine. So let's hear from the other two members of our SRX broadcast team tonight. He traded in his helmet for a headset this year, but he's still a superstar to us. Here's Willie T. Ribbs. Hello, Willie.
Hey, boys. It's not hot. It is super hot. 144 degrees in the car. You know what they call that? A high-speed crock pot, right? You know what crock pot. I'm glad I'm not in it, Matt.
Well, Matt, we lost your mic. It's opening up. Give us a second. All right, a little bit back in the field. The gold car is Greg Biffle racing there with Bill Elliott for 8th and 9th place, while Paul Tracy continues to hold the lead.
I think there's been a lot more side-by-side racing than people expected. I've noticed that already Ryan Hunter-Reay has been fed the bumper in 3-4. It's getting a little bit rough out there, and that's kind of what everyone's expecting to see. But Ryan's actually pulled out quite a gap on his former teammate, Marco Andretti. So Ryan, again, solid for his first night out here at the SRX Series.
First, second, and third. Paul Tracy carrying number 3 this year, but still the lime green car. Here's Bubba Pollard looking low. Tony Kanaan right behind them. Is Pollard inside enough to keep Tracy from closing the door? No.
It's interesting because I think Bubba is doing this way less sideways than Paul Tracy is. So I'm very curious to see how that works out for Paul's tires come the end of this race.
Pollard with the left sides down below the line for the lead.
Great move there, honestly. Played that perfectly, and Tony's going to follow him right through. The bottom is clearly the place to be here if you're going to make the move, and Tony was smart. He saw the two guys in front slowing each other down. He took advantage.
TK, Tony Kanaan through into second. They ride with Paul Tracy, who slips back to third.
Really, the curious thing that I'm ready to see is how fast does Bubba go? Does he hold back a little bit? Does he save some in the tank for the final? I mean, this is a game of competition, but also you got to be smart. There's a lot of really incredibly talented people out here, and sometimes if you think better than some of these other guys, it might pay off come the end of the night.
And of course, there's the old "he who finishes first shall start last" from Heat 1 to Heat 2.
Yes, but all these points count. If you get a win and then you get the experience coming from the back of the pack, I think I actually like that a lot. I mean, winning, then going to the back to have an experience with all the other competitors and see how some of the other folks race. It's a great format.
Bubba Pollard is 35 years old. Given name is Andrew. He earned the right here by having the best average finish in an April 8th and 9th twin series of races here at Five Flags Speedway, one of his home tracks. Pollard, you'll learn more about him between Heats 1 and 2, but this is a guy that has gone everywhere in the United States and won every major short track race for the class of cars he normally drives, which are called super late models. He's gone from Slinger, Wisconsin to Oxford, Maine, out to California, down here to Florida, and he's won at all of them.
Yeah, what an incredible story, and what a great shot to race with some of these, some of these guys from all across the motorsport spectrum. And I got to meet him earlier. Super nice guy, and definitely look forward to watching him race tonight. And so far, he's delivering on pretty much everyone what they thought was going to happen.
So biggest mover since the start of the race, Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart have picked up 2 positions apiece, while Bubba Pollard continues to be tracked by Tony Kanaan.
I think, as we talked about a little bit before the show, Bobby Labonte is going to be the sneaky snake tonight. He's going to be the guy that we might not talk about a ton, but I think he'll be at the front come the end of the final. I think he's obviously a legend, and he said to me earlier in the day, he said, "Oh, you might not know who I am." And I said, "Are you kidding me? I know exactly who you are, Bobby." And I thought that was hilarious.
That's so like Bobby, isn't it? NASCAR Hall of Famer yellow flag is out, and just as we did in Season 1 of the Superstar Racing Experience, the caution will come out in each of the heat races. I called it the fun flag.
I love a good
The name
flag.
seems to have stuck. And we're having fun so far, early on a Saturday night here at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. The Superstars are back at it.
Camp for less at Camping World. Right now, get a new Coleman Lantern 17B, this camping starter kit, 2 years of Good Sam Road Rescue, and a 3-year Good Sam RV warranty for just $149 a month. That's less than $5 a day. Plus, we have the best selection.
Saturday nights. Under our first caution in heat number 1, Paul Tracy led most of the opening segment of the race. Then Bubba Pollard, the local all-star, went by him and is out in front as we get ready for the restart. Great crowd here. And I'll tell you what, all credit in the world to these fans, the SRX crew, the drivers. It's hot here.
Absolutely. This is an incredible crowd. People here, I really respect them for coming out here. It's 1,000,000 degrees outside. And the sun is obviously still in the sky, which is going to be brutal for a bit, but we thank them for being out here. It's awesome.
A lot of young ones here tonight, too, which is great to see. This wonderful racetrack, known best as host of one of America's biggest short track races every December, the Snowball Derby. Give you our track profile in a little while as the field doubles up. Pace car driven by Randy LaJoie this year heads off, and we're back green.
And we immediately see Bubba Pollard learning from what Paul Tracy did at the start. Got a nice jump on the inside row, and Tony Kanaan now trying to follow in his footsteps. It's going to be great.
Kanaan second, Paul Tracy third. Brian Hunter-Ray tries to stick to the inside of Tony Stewart for fourth.
In some communities, Paul Tracy is the 2002 Indy 500 champion, but he is now fending off Tony Stewart, who is literally one of the most talented drivers, I think, in the world and of all time. And this is a great, great battle between talents.
All right, we tried it once before. Our pit crew jumped on it, got it fixed. Matt Yoakum, are you there?
Hey, Amy. I'll tell you one thing. When you look at Bubba Pollard's racing resume, beyond impressive. Every crown jewel short track event in the country. He's got the trophy. So I ask you, what tread below the radar do you think will be a major storyline before the night? He goes, there's always somebody that runs in the center of the pack, saving his tires. That'll be the guy I'll have to deal with at the end of the night. And I said, well, who do you think that could be? He goes, Bobby Labonte. You watch. He's very sly. Saved his stuff. He'll be there.
Bobby's style is all that as the race for third goes side by side.
Oh, little bit of contact yet again. I love to see it. Tony Stewart using his muscles to get Paul Tracy out of the way. This is some good stuff right here.
Bill Elliott, Bobby Labonte back here in the field. That's for 8th and 9th. And a car looping around. That's Ernie Francis Jr. And
we saw him and Michael Waltrip going side by side for almost 4 corners in a row, so there must have been some contact going on there.
I do not see the caution flag. We stay under green.
That's
Just a half a
SRX
minute
racing
left.
right there.
Yeah, well, you know, he got it going. What happened to Ernie Francis Jr.?
Oh, the classic pit maneuver, as some would say. Elio Castroneves trying to slide in late on Ernie Francis Jr. We've seen that before, and we'll see it again in this championship. But yeah, tough to see for Ernie this early.
So Francis Jr. continues on, but will drop to the end of the field. Of course, that'll give him the pole position for heat number 2. But you wonder about if he scuffed up those tires in that spin. So we'll see. So clock expires on that, and then there's the checkered flag, having a little radio communication difficulty down to the starter. I saw him looking back over his shoulder, kind of with his hands up in the air back at the control tower like, I can't hear you. Well, they were saying, put the checkers out. Clock has expired on heat number 1, and Bubba Pollard has won it. All right, we're